mean, not everything is a good blunder, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that hurt as well. Especially last game was so hard earned. Full game is a short. This is basically the same game. No, it's not. It's not. It's officially not, but similar structure. GG's. I want to have some fun. I don't know if it's the best option though. No, let's just play this. I wanted to take here first and then play knight g4. King back, knight takes e3, and then the queen moves. And then I didn't know what to play really. Here this kind of forces bishop takes. Maybe even king f7 there. Bishop e6. Hmm. Play that. Damn. Jeez. Point 3 seconds! Oh my goodness. My skin was boiling because I couldn't find a win here. Rook F2. No, I did play Rook. Oh, no. I'm talking earlier. This Queen A7. Check here. Queen takes B2. How am I missing this? Of course. I had just convinced myself that it was just gonna come handy dandy and mate in 3. But no. I did it the hard way. This is completely drawn. What do I am just completely missing this bishop. I missed this bishop for like 10 moves. And then this is where they clown themselves, because they have a draw with Queen C8. Or they're flagging me even. But they took here. It's like the worst move possible. I have mate in 3. If you ever move the king here, it's mate as well. I didn't know what to pre-move. You know, Queen H1 or to pre-move bishop here. So I just like kept my mouse here. I was like, what are you doing? Let us review this game. I feel like it's a very important game to learn to how to convert in a semi-closed / closed position from the middle game. So after my opponent played the blunder Rook C2, I win the exchange, and now how do we convert? Now obviously there is one open file, which is very important in this game because I want to trade as many pieces as possible, and a file is the openness of the position I need to be able to trade a pair of rooks. And that's what I do instantly. Rook C8, and now we've traded rooks. Now if it were up to me, I would trade 1, 2, 3 against 1, 2, 3, and 1 against 1. As simple as that, but it's not that easy. You see, after I play Queen C7, I'm trying to enter this position to trade off queens, but this is made very hard for me after a move like Bishop D3. Super good defensive move, closing off the file, and now there is no entry point whatsoever for my queen. Very, very interesting idea by White. And so this is also how to defend against when you're down the exchange, right? You don't want to leave any entry points. So I continue with knight e4. It's a really good idea, actually. Knight e4 intends that either, okay, a queen could get out of like the defense of one of these squares one day, and I could have maybe a knight c3, or maybe I could launch an attack with f5. This is kind of what happened in the game. Or if takes and knight e1, let's say, to cover the c2 square. This didn't happen in the game, but something like this did happen. As you can see, the white pieces are all confused. They are not exactly active. This knight is not the best in the business, cannot go to many squares, and this knight as well can only go to e2. This bishop is completely lost and passive on b2, and this queen has no play. So that would have been a really bad thing for the white pieces to have, so they
they play queen d1 and they don't trade pieces, right? So I go knight f6 with the idea of knight g4. Now, after knight e2, I had this idea that was interesting, I thought, was knight takes. I discussed it during the game, and I didn't really like it finally, because after knight g4, king moves back, and I take here on e3. I'm attacking this queen, but then queen b1, and I have no play. Or even I calculated queen e1, and black has really nothing after that. So instead, I just attacked this f2 square very peacefully and forcing bishop takes e4. This is a very good idea because you want to force things. By forcing things, you force trades, right? Because I was forcing f2, I wasn't giving my opponent an option but to trade off pieces, and we want to liquidate as much as possible. So we liquidate, and now we are down to 2 minor pieces each and a queen to trade down. But it's still not so simple. I don't have this entry square because of this knight e1 that helps cover these 4 entry squares for the white pieces. So I have to discover for myself a new way to attack the white pieces to break open and create more weaknesses for myself. So that's what I do. I go f5, and my idea here, okay, I defend this e6 square. I should have gone queen d7, was a bit better apparently, but the idea remains the same. I go g5, and my idea here is to weaken the king, open up more of the position. Now that a lot of this space here is closed, if I can open up more of the position, I can create more weaknesses. So an open king, I can force more trades because there's more open lines, etc. So this is always a good idea here. Even though it could weaken your king, I have the amount of material to secure this. So knight h5, very interesting idea by the engine here. They evaluate this position at almost +5 for the black pieces, meaning that I'm the equivalent of a rook up. So forget the exchange up, the full rook is up if I find this idea knight d5. And here it's completely ignoring and ridiculing this knight on h5, because really it's a glorified knight. This knight is trapped. It's not doing anything for the white pieces, and here I'm just going about a really better plan here to push f4. So bishop d6, f4, completely ignoring white's resources. Instead I took, which is a bit less good because now I let white pieces get a bit more active. So the queen is more active than on e2, and they infiltrate, right? So this queen is infiltrating my position. Not that much because it was controlled. I have this under control, and I played queen e8 trying to trade queens. Obviously they didn't trade queens because it would be winning. And then I play queen g6, helping myself to some f4 things in the near future, right? Queen a6 attacks my rook. I play rook f8 to support this f4 square. So I have this plan that I'm just ready to get started. And here I finally play f4. And this is where the game gets really interesting, because after d5, now we get these tactical things in which when my rook was on c8, there was no entry point, right? But now that I've got my rook on f8, there are different entry points for this f-file. When we look inside this yet-to-be-open position, f3 is not possible because of this knight. But now we see 2 new weaknesses, that is f2 and the square f1, completely undefended. And f1 is newly undefended. This queen was defending f1 2 moves ago, right? So we have 2 undefended squares, and what better to do than to open up this file to get on these weaknesses, and threatening here queen f1 and queen f2. Matter of fact, I made this game so much more complicated than it was supposed to be. Here it's mate in 8 moves for the black pieces. Crazy, right? After knight g2, I have queen f2 check, or queen f1 check rather, sorry. Check, forcing the king up, and now I have rook f2, and this game is sealed. There is no defense for the white pieces. Queen a8 check, bishop f8, and there's no more checks. The best move white has is literally to sack their queen, and then to sack their bishop with checks, and then the position falls. This is where I need to say this as much as possible. When converting, this is prime advice, look at many different options, because I had tunnel vision here. Tunnel vision is when you're focused on one idea, and my idea was bishop d6, queen f2, and bishop takes g3 check with mates. When you're focused on this one idea, if it doesn't work out, you have no plan B, right? So look at many options, and from those options, sort out which ones are best for you. And so here I had mate in 6, queen f1, and rook f2 would have been completely winning. Instead, I go bishop d6, which is not that good because this bishop does not help the attack. And now I'm out of time here. I don't have this resource anymore because there's a mate on g7 now threatened. And this checkmate threat is so annoying. I still have mate in 10 with queen f2 check. If the king goes up, this is what I had in mind, right? This checkmate. But this is what I play. I play queen f2 and the king goes to h1, and then that was my surprise. That was my aha moment. And for the rest of the game, I'm just missing to take this bishop for so long. And even today, I played a game in which I had a rook on f2, and I was missing the same bishop on b2. It's like, it's really my blind spot in chess. It's crazy. So yeah, there's a bishop that's hanging here on b2, and if I take it, it's minus 40. Minus 40. Oh, turning into mate in 11. Crazy. So anyways, I go back to f7, and then, you know, this game is much harder to convert, but I play some good moves. This is still minus 7, completely winning. And after h4, I need to find rook takes b2. I just missed this bishop the entire game. It's crazy. But yeah, that would have been easier to convert if I just found missing to take this bishop for the 4th time this game. And so this is my losing blow. Well, not losing, but it's the drawing blow. And with low time here, my opponent makes this super weird mistake that just lets me win by luck. But honestly, I had bigger opportunities in that game. I thank you and appreciate you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this thorough analysis of how to convert with an exchange up in a closed middle game. Thank you so much for watching.